and welcome to the quarterfinals of the StarCityGames.com Cincinnati Open Weekend. Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan, we are here in the booth. Nick Miller down in the feature match area as we prepare to watch #1 overall seed Collins Mullen with his very innovative Humans deck against Jessy Hefner and his previously innovative and now kind of normal Death and Taxes deck. Both these players are going to start off with a copy of Ether Vial, and Patrick, that's got to be a pretty important card for both of them.
I think Hefner leverages a little bit better because he has other things to do with his mana. The Eldrazi Displacer being at the top of that list.
Kitesail Freebooter is what Collins has right now targeting Jessy, so we'll get an idea of what Jessy is working with. You'll see a hand here of Selfless Spirit, Leonin Arbiter, Thalia Guardian of Thraben, an Eldrazi Displacer, a Kitchen Finks, and a Horizon Canopy, the most medium of beats.
Not surprising here to whiff on a Freebooter. Hefner's deck, just not that many non-creature cards in it.
So he'll write down all that information, and we're going to head back over to Hefner, whose vial's up on 1. There's a Horizon Canopy. You can go and cross that off the list. Hefner going to take a damage here. Fall down to 19. Let's see where he wants to go.
Standard classic players, as you finish your round.
It's going to go towards Selfless Spirit. Pass the turn back over to Collins Mullen. Keep in mind for these two players, they're our most experienced ones in the top 8, but not some of the more experienced names that you do see here on the SCG tours. Noble Hierarch slides through the vial. Mullen is going to move his vial up to 2. Collins, this is his 3rd SCG Tour top 8. He's also got an invitational top 8 to his name. For Hefner, 2nd SCG Tour top 8, and he's also got an invitational top 8 to his name. So they've done it under the bright lights, and they're going to see if one of them can win a title here this weekend.
Looks like Mullen might have gone to a mulligan to 6 here by my count of total cards. 3 in hand, 5 on the table is 8, and we're on turn 3.
Sure.
So I was thinking he was looking a little light already, and there you are.
Here comes the Freebooter. That'll work just fine with an Exalted Trigger, and it'll be an attack for 2. The difficult thing right now for Collins is that he has drawn the disruption portion of his deck. He has not drawn the aggressive portion. He has Meddling Mage. He has another Kitesail Freebooter. Those cards are not particularly good in this matchup.
Yeah, this is the type of matchup where you really want Mayor of Averbrook, Champion of the Parish, the threats that give you just a lot of power and toughness for mana, not the disruption part. You know, the Freebooter missed. You can Meddling Mage, but everything in Hefner's hand was a creature that can just slide through the vial. So these creatures are just not lining up the right way.
Meddling Mage is going to name Path to Exile, which does not surprise us as we talked about at the top. It's the best name, and in the draw step here, Collins is going to activate his vial, likely for the Freebooter. And Jesse's going to give that the green light. So that's the last card in Collins' hand. The hand here is 2 Finks, Thalia, Leonin Arbiter, Displacer, and it looks like maybe a Cavern of Souls up at the top.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really rough reveal here for Mullen. Once that vial goes to 3, trying to brawl against Kitchen Finks and Displacer with a bunch of mana, I think he's going to be hard-pressed to win this one unless he draws very well.
Well, there is a Ghost Quarter. So colorless mana, not even close to an issue here for Jessy. Eldrazi Displacer are going to come on down.
And this is a really good setup here for Hefner, as he gets to vial out one of his 2s, whichever one he wants, go to 3 with the vial, keep all of his mana available, and have 2 Kitchen Finks to play through the vial, while Mullen just doesn't have a lot of presence on the battlefield.
Selfless Spirit going to come across here. Kitesail Freebooter is going to trade with it, and we're going to head back over to Collins. Now this is one of those times where Collins needs to draw something like a Mantis Rider, a Reflector Mage, stuff like that.
Yeah, he needs the parts of his deck that are about racing, size on the battlefield, interaction. The Freebooters and the Meddling Mages are the weakest cards in his deck game 1. It appears that he mulliganed and then has drawn a lot of them. So,
well, Noble Hierarch's okay. Not the most exciting draw in the world, that's for sure. Meddling Mage coming in for 4 Exalted damage seems to make some sense. Could be 3 Exalted damage in the air from the Kitesail Freebooter.
4 gives Hefner the option of attacking with the Meddling Mage, gives Hefner the option of vialing in a 2/2 and double blocking. My sense is that the Displacer is just too good here long term to offer it up in a trade. And if Mullen attacks with the Meddling Mage, Hefner will just take the 4. Especially with 2 Finks already rolled up, he can easily gain the life back.
Here's an attack for 4 from the Meddling Mage with the 2 Exalted triggers. Chris Bakula's Invitational card coming into the red zone.
Also, the 2/2 is eligible to attack on the way back.
Yeah, I thought Jessy might want to use this. He almost forgot, but he's going to have a Leonin Arbiter slide through the Vial. I think we're going to see Vial take up to 3 because that's kind of the sweet spot given his hand.
Yeah, Hefner's set up to race really well here with the Finks coming down for 2, Displacer to muck up attacks and blocks.
Pretty safe attack here from Jessy too. Collins with no cards in hand. Eldrazi Displacer can seamlessly attack.
Displacer's also very good against someone attacking with an Exalted threat.
Oh, it's incredible. Truly incredible. Being able to displace the opponent's card while still being able to put a creature on the battlefield each turn, and especially a creature of the quality of Kitchen Finks, that makes life pretty good for Jessy Hefner. This may be one of the more difficult ones. I can certainly see why you chose Hefner to win this. If he's able to get in positions like this, because Mullen does not have any removal in his deck, he has Reflector Mage to buy time, sure, but you know, he doesn't have Path to Exile, he doesn't have Lightning Bolt, Fatal Push, anything like that. If Hefner gets set up, it's very hard for Collins to win.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, this is not totally fair because Hefner has had, I wouldn't say a perfect draw here, but about the mixture of stuff that you'd want. And Mullen has drawn the wrong half of his deck, but this was my concern going into game 1. Mullen has a wrong half of his deck to draw, and Hefner doesn't.
Yep. Hefner just needs a nice mix of lands and spells, and he's probably going to be able to play.
All the stuff is interchangeable. There's not a portion of his deck that's really about fighting one style of matchup here.
This is an activation of a Vial. Another copy of Meddling Mage. This one's going to name Dismember. Yeah, it's in Collins' best interest just to name the spells that can kill the creatures, because naming the creatures legitimately does nothing.
Right. And the one Dismember more threatening than the 2 Smugglers Copters in the deck at this stage.
Kitchen Fink's going to come through the Vial, and then Hefner's going to activate Displacer on the Kitchen Fink, so it's actually a total of 4 life that he gained. And now, yeah, he gets to do this too.
Yep. This is challenging for Mullen to slog through.
It's very strange because I don't want to call this the lock.
Yeah, it's not quite a lock, but it's, you know, if you can't get the Displacer off the battlefield, and even if you draw a Reflector Mage, it's just right back to the Vial. It's hard to leverage Exalted against the Displacer that's up. It's hard for him to beat Kitchen Finks just card to card. And so we're hitting the point where even if Mullen kind of starts drawing the right portion of his deck, I don't think it's enough.
Well, Mantis Rider's a start. There's going to need to be multiples of those, though,
right.
I think. That's what it's going to take right now. You know, a card like Mayor of Averbrook or Thalia's Lieutenant can actually make these creatures relevant too. So he's got to draw the good half now.
Yep.
That's where he's got to go. No more lands, only good spells. He's going to come across here with the Flyers. Hefner looks like he wants to do some displacing. Keep in mind that's a Rising Canopy out there for Jessy, so he will have to take at least 1 damage to do so. All right, Blade Splicer is going to come through the Vial.
Oh, man.
Well, that's going to increase the clock.
That's a good one to blink.
Two Golems. Here comes some more 3-power creatures. Some of them have first strike.
Remember, Hefner at 7 right now. Another Finks in hand can go to 9. And even if he doesn't draw another land, he can pick up another point of life by displacing a Finks even through the Horizon Canopy.
Points is Peter Tabergen. Second place with 21 points is Jan Alexandre Trunard.
These are tough blocks. You can't make meaningful inroads on the board at this point. I like the blocks to the double hierarch. Because you're playing against active displacer, it's not like you can make an exalted attack.
Makes sense.
In 5th place with 20 points is Anthony Skrispak. In 6th place.
All right. Okay, I think he may have drawn another Mantis Rider.
I mean, that's got to be, I imagine that's the best draw at this point.
It's got to be one of the best ones, right?
Well, the ground is gone. That's
that's off the table.
We lost that fight. The ground's gone.
So there's only one way to go now, right?
I announced your name and you have not yet submitted.
You got to go upstairs.
Please bring your deck over to the table to the right of the main event stage and submit it for a pre-top 8 check. Otherwise, all top 8 players.
Well, maybe it was another Mantis Rider.
The row of tables second from the feature match area.
I think Mullen just checking to see if he is he dead on the way back if he sends in the freebooter. But once you're making those kind of judgment calls, we're
in a bad place.
Point of no return.
Yeah, we're in a bad place.
Your final points, these standings will become final in 2 minutes. If you have place between 9th and 32nd place, you will want to form a single file line heading out from the center of the stage.
Yeah, it might be only Mantis Rider that can come in here.
Please have your ID in hand, ready to collect your prize once standings have become final.
Displacer going to take care of Mantis Rider for now. Jesse's going to have to lose a life to do so.
Magic players, the StarCityGames.com sales will be closing at the end of this round of Swiss.
All right, Fink's going to slide through the vial. 2 more life there for Hefner. Blade Splicer the draw. Vial on 3 working overtime.
You will want to do so in the next 40 minutes.
All right, here come the beatdowns. This is a lethal attack. And while Collins decides how he wants to block in this situation, I can't let you know our first match result is Jeremy. Help me say it.
Go to the tape. Tarioni.
Battarioni, thank you. I always have to think about it. Jeremy Battarioni. I think that's Italian. Blue-green Merfolk taking care of Infect. 2 games to 0. Kenny and Collins losing that match. Maybe a little bit of a surprise there, I'll tell you what.
I think so too.
Yeah. Infect just not the deck it used to be too. I think that's worth noting.
Yeah, loss against Axiom Probe. It's a big one. Mullen soldiering on here, but I think we're about to see a concession.
Yeah, not much left for him to do. Yeah, he's going to pick this one up. So Jessy Hefner with Death and Tax is going to win game number 1 here over Collins. Mullen and his Humans deck. As we turn our attention to the sideboard, we will start with the Humans player, who's got 2 Zathra Necromancer, 2 Aethersworn Canonist, 2 Vithian Renegades, 2 Fiend Hunter, 2 Izzet Static Caster, 2 Tireless Tracker, 4th Reflector Mage, 1st Mirren Crusader, and an Anafenza, the foremost.
I like the extra copy of Reflector Mage. I think this can drag out to the point where Tireless Tracker becomes pretty good as well. And I think that would probably do it.
Not too much?
Reflector Mage, Tireless Tracker, talk me in the Anafenza. The Fiend Hunters are good. Some good options here, and you can get away from those freebooters and meddling mages.
Yeah, whatever it takes to get those out of your deck, I think is ideal. For Jessy, he's not technically a Humans deck, even though he kind of is. 2 Mirren Crusader, 2 Stony Silence, 2 Core Firewalker, 2 Rest in Peace, Eidolon of Rhetoric, Haven Mind Center, Rule of Law, Oblivion Ring, Celestial Purge, Journey to Nowhere, and your favorite, Pithing Needle.
The anti-creature elements here, the Journey to Nowhere, the Oblivion Ring. The Celestial Purge is probably too narrow, is my guess, if you assume Freebooter is getting removed from the deck. So some light sideboarding, just some interaction. Stuff to kill some creatures against a deck that's a bunch of creatures.
Well, easy breezy. That's going to take care of it for both of those players. So they will sideboard shuffle up, get ready for game number 2. Collins Mullen, number 1 overall seed, will be on the play here for game number 2. And in the meantime, Star City Games did come out with a new playmat for our pre-release creature collection program. So Rivals of Ixalan, excuse me, coming out pretty soon. We got a sweet playmat for it, drawn by Andrea Radak, and Star City's own Jeremy Noel will tell you more about that right now.
Say hello to the newest member of the StarCityGames.com pre-release exclusive creature collection, Running on Plumes. Illustrated by fan favorite Andrea Radak, these adorable dino riders are stomping at the bit. Want this limited edition playmat at your pre-release? Have your local store contact StarCityGames.com by November 13th to get signed up. For more information, visit go.starcitygames.com/pre-release and stake your claim with Running on Plumes.
Running on Plumes, drawn by Andrea Radak. Make sure you have your local store. Contact StarCityGames.com by November 13th. Get signed up for that pre-release playmat. Take your pre-release to the next level as we get ready to learn a little bit more about Jessy Hefner, currently up a game here. It's a 25-year-old from Delphi, Indiana. 1 open top 8, let's make it 2 this week. An invitational top 8 as well many moons ago back in Charlotte. Obsessed with Trailer Park Boys. Used to be able to run a 450 mile, which is unbelievable, and a strict vegetarian. But, you know, not so bad, actually. I like vegetables. You like vegetables?
I mean, I'm not opposed. I don't know what the question is.
I thought about being a vegetarian I wanted to try being a vegetarian for a week. Just see if I could handle it. It's like I eat chicken like every day.
Yep.
I didn't make it, but it wasn't like bad.
Sure.
I just couldn't do it.
I think you just have to have, there's a certain amount of literature and education I think you have to consume before you can do that effectively. Because otherwise you're going to not have a really balanced diet, not get your protein from the right places, like start having a really Skittles-centric.
Candy? I'm just going to go straight to the candy?
Right. So I think a lot of people want to just do it, and I think there's an education process that needs to occur in front of it.
I did some reading about it.
I'm not saying that you didn't. I'm saying that's a common pitfall of people who attempt to go vegetarian or vegan or what have you and are unable to sustain it.
One of the tough things about being a vegetarian, for me, is I don't like beans.
Okay.
And beans are pretty big. If you're a vegetarian, you eat a lot of vegetables. So it's pretty tough for me. As you know, don't want any beans in my Chipotle. Get that out of there. The only beans that I like, 2 types. One, refried beans, sort of, and I don't even know if those count.
Well, they're certainly not vegetarian.
But yeah, I don't even know if those count, what's going on there at like a Mexican restaurant.
Right.
Because those are just covered in like filth and aren't good for you. And then baked beans, which similarly do not count because they are covered in sugar and molasses.
Yeah.
But they are delicious. I got another update here for you. Benjamin Reagan, he won his match, Counters Company, over Chase Masters playing Black White Eldrazi Taxes. So number 2 overall seed is through to the semifinals. Maybe this is finally the time for Counters Company to shine. So many people tried with that deck as soon as it came out. I think of Brendan DeCandio always being on the outside looking in Modern Opens with that deck. So maybe Benjamin Reagan can get the job done there. We'll see.
Come on, Jesse.
You're rooting for Death and Taxes all of a sudden?
No, his pile shuffling.
Not
come on, rooting for him. Come on, imploring him to not do this.
I see.
What's your favorite time wasting ritual that you indulge in?
Whew. Browsing Facebook. Actually, no, I take it back. Browsing Twitter.
Yeah.
Definitely Twitter. Twitter is just my number 1 now. It's just my number 1. You?
I don't know. There's a lot of competition. I don't know what I would say is my favorite.
Well, do we consider like reading time wasting?
No, of course not.
No, okay. Because like I like to read. I like to educate myself on a lot of basketball things in my spare time. I love to read like just any basketball article.
I spend a fair amount of time, often when I wake up. Sometimes it's in bed. Sometimes I go to another room, of just staring at the wall. That's like my first, like that's how I get myself centered. Just eyes kind of bugged out a little bit, just staring at the wall.
I don't even know what to say to that. My Twitter feed is one of the things I like about Twitter is you get to kind of make it your own. You know, like Facebook, you know, like you're friends with people, whatever. You scroll down the timeline, but like Twitter, I literally just get to customize and make it my own.
I deleted Facebook off my phone. It's a whole new. It's so great.
A whole new world.
I can't encourage it enough.
But my Twitter is so entertaining because I choose who I follow, obviously. So I'm just either relentlessly entertained or I have basketball things being thrown in my face, and I can't get enough of it.
Right, and also, I mean, this is why I sort of don't like the move to 280. Most people don't.
I hate the move to 280.
Most people don't have 140 good characters in them.
That's correct.
And I think increasing that, it's not going to make people perform better. And Facebook, there's no character limit.
No,
people just talk.
They just go.
People just talk. And if you don't have 140 good characters in you don't have 1,400.
That's true. That's true. See, one of the things, I'm not going to barn you here, but I'm going to kind of barn you. You make those 140 count. That's one of your. I know you care,
and
but you make your 140 count.
And I think my output would be worse in 280.
Yes. Yes.
Because restriction breeds creativity. A lot of things I can't quite fit. I just delete them if it's not the pros that I'm looking for.
I read a lot about Twitter and the finances of Twitter, and how
it loses like $1 billion a day.
It's not doing great. It's not great because they have they have no monetization.
Right.
They have no monetization. So, like, the biggest problem, if this was their plan, was like to go from 140 to 280 to get more people to register, I don't think that's going to work.
Right.
And I do think that if they had charged people like $1 to go from 140 to 280, a lot of people just would have bought.
Right, but that's the problem is that there's a selection there.
Like $1 a month or something. Just a reoccurring charge.
I think the people who most want 280 characters are the people who cannot be trusted with 280 characters.
Absolutely.
Because they want it in the first place.
That's true. But they would be willing to buy probably. And they have some serious monetization issues.
Yep. I would not. I mean, I would just be out. I'd be out.
Every time I see a 280 status or 280 tweet, I'm just it's just too wordy. It takes up too much of my Twitter feed. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Collins is not having a good. I can't say he's not having a good day because he's 14-0-1, but he's not having a good round right now.
Going to 5.
Yeah.
Hefner on 7.
But I love Twitter. I love Twitter. You know what I don't like? Snapchat. I do not like Snapchat.
Most of these I'm only sort of vaguely aware of.
Young person's game doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I read about it because it's part of what I do for a living, but I'm not pro Snapchat, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be around for a while.
That sounds right.
Yeah. Facebook, fine. It's one. Facebook won.
I think Facebook is borderline unusable.
Well, it's not. It's one.
Yeah,
it's literally won the social media war. It's not going anywhere.
Right.
It's so far ahead. It's a joke. It is getting worse to use. I do not use Facebook that much anymore. Instagram kind of great. Twitter definitely great. All right, going to keep it on top here. The scry here for Collins. Counter Souls, Vial. Don't draw another one of those, Collins. They're bad in multiples. Jessy has a Vial of his own. You saw how good Jesse's Vial was last game, and you felt he had the better Vial of the two, and he certainly did.
He can use his spare mana a lot more efficiently than Mullen does.
Champion of the Parish.
Displacer, even things like, Mutavault, Dunes, Horizon Canopy, all that stuff plays well with Aether Vial in a way that I think, Mullen, it's efficient, and a lot of the stuff plays well at instant speed, but he's not really making use of the spare mana as well.
There's Selfless Spirit. Collins is going to Vial in, I believe, another Champion of the Parish. He will, so that one's going to get a counter. Jesse's land for the turn was the Dunes. And we'll go over to Collins. There's the Sheffet Dunes. Snap
Whoa,
block.
that's a gutsy block.
That's
here.
a quick block.
But if he got the Mayor.
Or Thalia's Lieutenant. Either one would have been good.
Yep.
This is how you come back from Mulligan 5, by the way.
Yeah,
This is how you come back.
I think Mullen has. If Mullen doesn't have a 2 to Vial in anyway, you're so far ahead.
No spell was played, right? So transform?
Yeah.
Yeah, and flip it. It's going to turn into Halpak Alpha?
And this card's capable of winning the game on its own.
All by itself. Let's take a look at Halpak Alpha. The flip side of Mayor of Averbrook is Vial's going to go up to 2. I don't know. This is winnable for Collins. Halpak Alpha churns out a
Absolutely.
wolf? There's a basic plains. Other werewolf and wolf creatures you control get +1/+1. At the beginning of your end step, put a 2/2 green wolf creature token on the battlefield. So this is doable. Path to Exile is timely. Collins will get to search up a land here. There's a basic plains. Collins with 2 cards in hand right now. Third one, once he draws his card for the turn, you gotta wonder what they're gonna be. He does have some really good cards in the matchup, you know? Like, this is the kind of matchup where Reflector Mage is an ace.
Yes.
It's really, really good.
It's some amount worse because when Hefner has a vial, but
Of course.
still does good work.
Path is done resolving. Jessy is just gonna pass the turn back with a vial on 2. We're gonna go over to Collins Mullen. His vial is on 3. That's a good place for it to be. See if he has something like a Mantis Rider as he's gonna draw a card. Meddling Mage in hand. He's going to want to keep the human density.
I would imagine this one is still just naming path.
I would imagine that's true. Maybe a sideboard card because they have each other's sideboard, but here comes Champion. And let's say Champions, plural. What is this? Thalia. Wow. Wow.
It's a nice 5-card hand.
That is a great 5-card hand. As Collins Mullen wins that game like he didn't even mulligan it all over Jesse Hefner. Humans, death, and taxes. They're going to game number 3. That's the start.
Yes.
That's what you talked about.
Mulligan to 5, but he had vial plus 1 land, which is just, that's perfect. You have all the resources you need to work with, and you're still threat dense. And the champion of the parish, I think, is a big card for Mullen in the matchup. He's got to get it on the table and brawl and force Hefner into bad blocks, and that's what happened in game 2.
And Jesse conceded immediately. I mean, at that point, what you've got path locked out.
Yep.
And then so he's not going to be able to brawl with a 5/5 and a 4/4. You just can't do it. Let alone them entering the battlefield tapped.
Right. So he can't even vial in anything if he had it.
Yeah. That's a nightmare right there. That was a very, very fast win. Wow, congratulations to Colin Mullen on that, as these players are going to shuffle up here for game number 3, overcoming that mulligan of 5. We're going to talk about the weekly sale one last time here this weekend, folks, where you don't have a ton of time left to save 25% on thousands of cards, but you do still have time, and Patrick's going to tell you a way to go.
Well, you head over to go.starcitygames.com/weekly sale. Check it out. Every week we have a new sale that starts 11 o'clock Eastern time in the morning on Monday. So make sure you're going back to the website once a week to check out what's on sale right now. But for a limited time, as it's about to be Monday, 25% off thousands of rares.
Quick update for you on our last match that's not this one in our quarterfinals. Scott Simmons of Blue Art Gift Storm takes care of Andrew Ellenbogen playing Affinity 2-0. Not too surprising to see that result. I think Storm is just favored in that matchup.
Well, Ellenbogen did a nice job beating it. A high drama match, certainly, but I think it is challenging.
Both these players are going to lay out their hands. Jesse Hefner, number 8 seed, going to be on the play here for a G3. Looks like he's going to keep. The question is, will Collins? The answer is no. Collins is going to go back to the drawing board. See if he can find a hand that he likes. You know, he mulliganed the 5 solo last game. Might as well do it again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a thing? That's not a thing, is it?
Well, you should look for a good hand. I think just, all right, I'm on 5.
It's not.
Not the approach.
It's not a thing.
Gotta look for a good hand.
We'll quickly talk about the StarCityGames.com newsletter while Collins takes a look at his 6-card hand. It is your source for Magic the Gathering news. It's totes free, and it's easy to sign up for.
Over at go.starcitygames.com/newsletter, your source for Magic the Gathering news. Highlights from some of Star City Games' best articles, upcoming SCG tour dates and locations. You can find the StarCityGames.com invitational qualifier or game night closest to you, an exclusive cardboard craft comic, and again, signing up is free over at go.starcitygames.com/newsletter. Just get a photo of Ross Merriam in your inbox.
Who could say no?
Could do worse.
Yeah, that's true.
Could do worse. The average email you receive is worse than that. So raise your aggregate. raise your average email.
You just make such a compelling argument, really. Who could argue that?
Right.
Who could argue
It's
there?
better than average.
Yeah. Plains no vial, big deal here for Collins. Because if Collins has a vial of his own, which he does not, but he might have his best one drop anyway there in Champion of the Parish. For Jesse Hefner, it's a Tectonic Edge into a Smuggler's Copter.
Whoa! Forgot about this.
Legal in Modern, thanks.
So now, see if Mullen has brought in his sideboard 15 Raiders. Two
Renegades.
Smugglers, two copies of Smuggler's Copter plus the 4 vials in Hefner's deck. That might be enough to get it in.
There's enough cards to get out, that's for sure. Noble Hierarch, trigger, beatdowns in for 2. Make it 3 with the Exalted trigger. Hefner down to 17. Jesse's untapping and he's drawing. We might see a Smuggler's Copter activation here, folks. Been a long time since we've seen one of those on camera. Lean and Arbiter. Crew it. Kaboom. Trigger. Draw, discard. A Blade Splicer, the draw. We'll see what the discard will be here in just a moment from Hefner. It's a redundant copy of Smuggler's Copter.
So that's both his copies.
Yeah. Let's go back over to Collins now, as Hefner did not find a third land. Collins with the Cavernous Souls and Unclaimed Territory, naming humans.
This would be a great spot for the Renegades.
Oh, yeah. Well, he has it. Renegades is going to take care of the Smuggler's Copter. The champion will grow, and it'll attack here for 2-3. Let's make it 4 with an Exalted trigger. And now Hefner is pretty far behind. You can see the difference, by the way, of when Jesse has a vial and when he doesn't.
Yes. And how much he needs to get to 3, because the stuff he's got going on at 2 in this matchup is not great. I mean, not really an Elite and Arbiter matchup, not really a Selfless Spirit matchup. Kitchen Finks, Eldrazi Displacer, that's where it starts getting good.
For Hefner, he's got another 2-mana spell. It's Journey to Nowhere.
That's something.
Yeah, I think you got to go for the Champion of the Parish.
Yeah, I think that card is problematic if Mullen has any gas left in the tank.
Now the Renegades, in combination with Noble Hierarch, will be able to attack for 4 next turn because of the Exalted trigger. But I still think you got to take care of this thing. Champion just ran all over Hefner in Game 2. You can't let it happen again in Game 3 as we head back over to Collins. Collins does have at least one good card in hand. In Mantis Rider, he's also just picked up a copy of Fiend Hunter. There is a land. Gonna sacrifice Horizon Canopy. Okay, excuse me. In for 4. Let's see what the follow-up's going to be. Still hasn't played that Mantis Rider just yet. Might be post-combat, might be Fiend Hunter. Might be, oh boy.
That's brutal here.
Oh boy, Thalia's really good. I'll tell you what, the matchups where Thalia's been good, it's been completely insane.
Oh yeah.
Completely insane. It was insane against Tron, and it's really good again. Now, Path to Exile is going to hit there. Lean and Arbiter is going to make it so that no search is going to happen. And now the Arbiter is going to come in here for 2 because it's not going to do any good blocking.
Well, that's curious because last turn he didn't block in this. He didn't attack in the same spot, and I assume that he was playing around Mantis Rider because if you want to send in the Renegade and the Mantis Rider, now you can block all of a sudden. So it's a little weird to attack, not attack the first time, but then attack the second time.
Another Unclaimed Territory. Going to name humans there, Will Mullen. It looks like he picked up a copy of Thalia's Lieutenant for the turn. So first things first, it'll be Mantis Rider.
Yeah, now Hefner gets really punished for that attack because he would be able to trade with Renegade had he left it back on D.
So that'll be an attack for 3, 4, 5, 6. Hefner down to 3, and he's not been able to find his third land. That's been the biggest issue for Jesse here this game. He'll play a Selfless Spirit. He'll simply pass the turn back. We're going to go over to Collins. Collins will draw a card. Remember, he's got a Fiend Hunter in his hand, and that is going to do it. Collins Mullen going to win this match over Jesse Hefner. 2-1. Humans going to take care of Death and Taxes, and that means, folks, that Collins Mullen, #1 overall, he's going to move on. But more importantly, Patrick, quit picking against the humans.
A clutch Vithian Renegades there.